Hi, everyone, and welcome to day one of our fifth annual Kahoot EDU Summit. We are so glad you're here to partake in another one of our awesome global PD events. My name is Hannah Harris, and I'm a community manager here at Kahoot, and I am so honored and excited to be just one of the folks on your screen today as we have an awesome jam-packed day of learning. During our Kahoot EDU Summit, we are covering a full agenda with speakers from near and far, and even some of our very close Kahoot friends taking the stage. And for good reason, too. We are joined by educators and school-based staff from all over the world. In fact, we have over, I think it's like 11,000 Kahooters registered to attend today. So kudos and round of applause, quiet snaps to all of you, our teachers, facilitators, learners, for always making time for this professional learning, this growth, and most importantly, this community and being together. As we logged in today and started to get tuned into the live stream, I saw so many people saying hello, making connections already, and I'd love for you to share where you're tuning in from as well, or maybe what grade or grade level do you support, do you teach, and finally, a surprise bonus question, given that it's June 5th. Do we have any summer breakers joining us today? I already saw some hellos from South Africa, from Egypt, from Texas. I see shout outs from Long Island, New York, from Indiana, from Kazakhstan, from Austin, Texas, Las Vegas. Hello from Mexico, Orlando, Florida. We have a professor tuning in from Hanover, Pennsylvania, Sheffield, UK, Malaysia. I could truthfully go on and on and on. I might just lose my breath. But thank you for being here. And we are so, so glad to have so many brains and perspectives behind the scenes with us today. Whether you are tuning in fresh into your summer break, maybe starting a new school year, school season, or maybe even between some calendar sessions and school terms. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And we know that today will truly be a worthwhile learning experience. We have so much to cover today and so many individuals, educators, learners to welcome to our stage. And I'm really only here to introduce each spectacular speaker and guest. So I'm going to get right into it with just a few organizational reminders. Nothing new here. You've probably heard, seen, or even shared yourself these reminders as we get started today. All of our sessions will be recorded and available on demand after the event. We're going to create an event playlist that will email out to all of our registrants and attendees. So if you would like to find these sessions again on demand to share with a colleague or maybe even watch yourself for some professional development, we have you covered at kahoot.com/webinars, or just check out your email inbox in a few days to see those recordings live. We are also excited to offer live closed captioning throughout our event today. You'll see live captions visible throughout the entirety of our event with an option to customize these closed captions post-event too to have them localized into your own native language. So definitely check that out as an added support and assist. Our educators and participants that are tuning in today will receive a certificate of attendance for joining and playing along during our summit today. All you need to do to ensure that you have this certificate, whether to claim professional development credits or just to keep in a brag binder, is to be sure that you're registered for the event. That's all, easy peasy, and you can do that now in case you haven't already. I think we'll share that link at the chat in just a moment. Should you need to take a break or step away from your screen anytime during this session or throughout the entire summit, no problem. If it's to dismiss students between periods, maybe even in between a quick lunch break, you can always jump back into the summit and find these live sessions again on YouTube or even at our homepage at kahoot.com. We have a fantastic group of crew members, colleagues, team members monitoring our chat stream today on YouTube. So if you have any questions about what we're sharing, what we're talking about, or even demoing live, always feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll be happy to answer them as they come in. And I know that very often our Kahoot community at large, all of our participants joining in, love to connect and kind of share feedback along the way. If you are tuning in at kahoot.com and you are not seeing the live chat stream, just click on that live YouTube link and head over to the YouTube page and you'll see that chat stream populated on the right side of your screen. I'll share these reminders again throughout our event today. So if you didn't catch them all right away, no problem. We have so much to do. And without further ado, I figured we should start to play. As we start all of our learning together, I have been thinking a lot about, and I'm really reminded of one of the lessons from one of my earliest elementary school teachers who always shared that progress is often more important and more impactful than perfection. And with Kahoot, teachers and students can really celebrate both of these experiences, whether progress along the way or perfection at the end of a Kahoot game, or even as celebrated on the podium. So as our theme for the Kahoot EDU Summit today, both today and tomorrow, is Achieving Awesome, we're going to be chatting on how we can foster those opportunities for our students to achieve that awesome learning experience, whether in celebration as they make it to the podium or in all of the learning that happens between questions, between rounds of game mode levels, or even in self-paced study. We have so many new and exciting announcements from behind the screen, more ways to play, and this time so much more interactive, accountable, and effective in process. And we can't wait to hear your insights and opinions on all of these new learning experiences as well. So I hereby invite you and really encourage you to go crazy in the chat with all of your own perspectives, suggestions, ideas, notes, pieces of feedback. We love to hear it all. Your voice is so important throughout the evolution of the Kahoot learning experience. But not to worry, I'm not going to be up here all day giving all of these announcements. We have so much to share, and we'll really be welcoming crew members to share all of these updates themselves on the tools, the features, the updates, the upgrades. You'll see an exclusive first look today at our latest AI integration on Kahoot. We'll have some new learning and PD modules available across the platform, and a first ever look at some interactive study tools to help achieve awesome, whether in or outside of the classroom. All of that to say, few minutes in already, 6 minutes to go, and we hope that you're staying on your toes, especially with our opening act. To start the show, let's welcome Sean Darcy to the stage. Welcome, Sean. Hey.
Hey, Hannah, how's it going?
So excited to be here and really excited to hand off the microphone. I know you have lots to show us today in our sessions.
Absolutely, yeah. So thanks for having me again, and thanks everyone for joining. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's really exciting to be here today to tell you guys a bit more about what's coming up for back to school with Kahoot. So let's jump into that one. And as Hannah actually pointed out already, the theme for this EDU Summit and for back to school really at Kahoot is Achieve Awesome. So that's a little bit cryptic, so we'll get into what that means as we go through this presentation. So let's kick things off with this, I think, pretty amazing factoid, which was educators actually engaged over 1 billion participants with Kahoot this school year. So I'm really curious, were you guys some of those educators out there? If so, let us know in the chat. Let us know if you played any game modes. Let us know what your students thought. We'd love to have your feedback. And hey, if you were new to Kahoot, also let us know. We would love to welcome you into the Kahoot community. So that would be really great. But I just want to also underline that Kahoot, of course, is known for engagement, but it's a lot more than engagement. It's also about learning. We recently did a meta-analysis of a whole bunch of peer-reviewed studies across the world, around 51 different countries. And basically what it came back with was that Kahoot actually improved student learning performance by a full letter grade. So again, not just engagement, also about improving learning outcomes. Not only that, it also helped with motivation, with classroom dynamics, with attitudes, and also helped with attendance and student participation. So you can feel confident that when you're using Kahoot, it's not only about engagement, it's all about engaging learning. All right, so this back to school and this EDU Summit is all about achieving awesome with Kahoot. So we'll break this into 2 sessions. The first today is going to be Pekka and I, and we'll walk through kind of like what's coming up for back to school. And then please come back again for tomorrow for deep dives and some closer demos with Porik and Maida. So do come back tomorrow. We're going to go a little bit deeper, especially on the AI side of things, and also some of our solo game modes. All right, so I wanted to share this quote. I did share this quote with you guys previously, but I wanted to share it again because I think this really sums up kind of what I hope will be your feeling at the end of this, which is before watching this interactive summit, I thought that Kahoot was just quiz games. It's so much more, exponentially more, said Karina E. Thank you again for sharing that, Karina. We love this quote. And again, hopefully all of you are also sharing in the chat and letting us know what you think about all the cool stuff we're about to show you. But we have so much stuff to show you that I think you'll agree that we need some scaffolding. We really need some support to better understand, how this all comes together. And to do that, I wanted to introduce my good colleague, Pekka, who will walk us through something called the Kahoot learning experience. Hi, Pekka.
Hi, thank you, Sean, and hello, everyone. I am super excited to be here to present to you some of our newest tools for teachers. I've also been myself a teacher for 10 years, and I'm one of those highly enthusiastic teaching developers who constantly try to find ways to teach better, teach with better tools, and in that way to help our kids and students to learn more and flourish in their lives. I've also been a teacher trainer more than a decade, and now I'm happy to announce that we have all new Kahoot certification program for teachers available right now. We've created these 3 courses, 30 minutes each, for you to become the ultimate Kahoot superstar. With these courses, you will learn how to save time and use the best available Kahoot tools. To start these courses and to get certified, just go to kahoot.com/certified. And here you can also see a QR code that leads you to the same webpage. Once completing each of the courses, you'll of course get a diploma and a cool digital badge. As you can see here, these courses are very well received by a lot of teachers, and many are posting to social media about their accomplishments. As Mrs. Mary Jill here says, the learning never ends for teachers. But this is not the main reason why I am here today. I'm here to introduce the Kahoot learning experience and how you can achieve awesome with Kahoot. As you already know, as Sean mentioned, Kahoot is much, much more than a quiz. And teachers are already using Kahoot in many pedagogically great ways. Sean also already showed you the research results, which reveals that Kahoot improves learning outcomes significantly. So next we are going to show you how that is done and which tools you can achieve these great results. So the Kahoot learning experience starts with efficient preparation with our time-saving tools. Then we have impactful instruction followed by playful practice. After that comes effective assessment and memorable review, and the circle closes with group achievement. In this session, Sean and I will deep dive into each of these and show you new great tools we have created for you and your students. I'm going to introduce you the first 2, and then Sean will come back to talk more about the last 4. Let's begin with saving time, because the surveys that we have done are indicating that the #1 thing teachers hope for to have are tools that save their valuable time. Well, those tools shall be delivered. As of today, we have over 100 million free Kahoots for everyone to choose from, and a great majority of those are created by teachers. So you are always able to search for a Kahoot that perfectly fits your needs. As a new thing, you are able to find relevant content which is aligned with curriculum standards. And you are also able to save time with our AI Assist Kahoot creator, Kahoot generator. But let's look closer to the curriculum aligned content in the next slide. So this feature will enable teachers to tag their Kahoots, courses, and channels with specific curriculum standards, making it easier for users to find content that matches their curriculum. So back to school, when you are searching Kahoots or courses, you will be able to filter the content also by curriculum standards. All teachers will have access to this. And we will start by rolling out support for the US standards, encompassing both national and local state standards. Also, for all users, there will be a possibility for custom tagging. So this possibility of creating custom standards has been a highly requested feature, and now it will be available for all of you. Yet another great time-saving tool is our AI Assist Kahoot creator, and how fast this is developing, it's blowing my mind. As Juliana here points out, it's already possible to create Kahoots automatically from different documents, for example, from a study guide or from lecture notes. Tomorrow at our EDU Summit, you will be presented with a more detailed live demo of our AI functionalities, but let's have a sneak peek of one of the features. So look here how easy it is to create Kahoots or interactive presentations just by one click. First, you type in whatever topic and then boom, our Kahoot creator generates you a fully complete presentation with slides and questions and with relevant images. You are also able to choose the language. So in the right, you see the language and the grade level menus. So for example, if you are teaching in kindergarten or in elementary school, the Kahoot will be created just for that age group. Currently, this is available with Kahoot EDU and Kahoot Plus Max users, and we are working to get this available for more teachers for back to school. After the efficient preparation comes impactful instruction. There are many teaching strategies and pedagogical ways to make teaching really impactful. And now let's find out what tools we have for you for this. Already today, when you are using slides in your Kahoots, you are able to get feedback with the slide reactions. Back to school, you are able to introduce new topics with interactive presentation mode. And whatever other will be available soon is Google Slides import. Now let's have a look at how this interactive presentation mode works. So we'll start by selecting the interactive presentation mode. And first of all, check how it looks visually. It's much more professional looking. It's clearly a presentation than a game. Then when there are interactive parts with the time limit, the presenter is able to pause if needed. Otherwise, it has the same great functionalities as traditional Kahoots like slides, drop-in, polling options, and ability to show participants' answers. And I have to say that all of those look really amazing. So after impactful instruction, students are able to start exploring and practicing the new concepts they have just been introduced. Sean will now come back and tell you more about this.
Thank you so much, Pekka. That was awesome. I'm sure there's a lot of educators out there who are looking forward to saving a little bit more time on Kahoot creation. And hey, that interactive presentation, that looked really cool. I like the way that you can slow it right down with the pause, and then have that sort of immersive branding. That also looked really cool. But that's not what I'm going to talk to you guys about. I'm going to talk to you now about playful practice and effective assessment. These are areas that we've been actually building out over the last couple of years. So maybe you don't know that, but hopefully I can enlighten you now. So first of all, a playful practice. Now, this image or GIF is what we believe at Kahoot, that this is what good looks like. This is a group of students who have created a Kahoot. They are presenting it in front of their class. They're collaborating. They're having fun, of course, and hopefully building a bit of confidence as well. So this is something, of course, that you could also try with your students to use Kahoot as not only a review tool, but also as a way for them to present. So this is a really great use case that we hope that you guys can try out. We also have been building out our self-study solo game modes. Now, these keep getting better and better. So we played, I don't know if you guys were at the beginning, but we played that Robot Run game. That was the live game where the team, it was a team game mode. This is the solo version of those game modes. So we've actually made the single player version that helps students to really, replay some of the material maybe, or find new games and play by themselves. So this gives them, really empowers them to study on their own. In addition, we have a whole bunch of math games. And I know Maida tomorrow will go through a bunch of these, but here we see the fractions game, both in the sort of standard format and a Snoopy version, which I think is going to be popular around the world. So both of those are available today to play. In addition, assessment is obviously a big part of the Kahoot experience. And I'm curious, have you out there been using reports? We really would love to get more feedback from you guys on how you're using reports. What could we improve? How could we make them more useful for you guys? One thing we try to do, obviously, is we want to keep reports free for educators and students out there. And we see that educators are using them for doing pulse checks and sort of exit tickets and those sorts of things. And going into this school year, what we want to do is enable students to actually do their own kind of self-assessment. So to find, okay, do I have any learning gaps, and can I actually close those gaps? So an example of one of the ways we're going to help them with that is our new flashcard feature. And we hear it a lot. Hey, Kahoot, do you guys have flashcards on your platform? We did launch this not so long ago, but now we are really leveling it up quite a bit more. They look much more fun. Flashcards can be fun. I think they're going to be fun on Kahoot. You can, swipe right if you got it, swipe left if you don't understand what it is, and flip it over to get more information. So we think that's going to be really great. And what's awesome about these flashcards is you can use any Kahoot that's out there now and just play with a flashcard mode. In addition, we are giving students some tools to create their own study Kahoots and close the learning gaps. And this is available on QEDU with student passes. So this is a great way. So if students are collecting notes or doing notes, they can actually create their own Kahoot. So let me have a quick demo of how that looks. Hopefully you guys can hear this as well. So we have a scanner where we have some notes, and these are pretty dense. These are chemistry notes. Very nice notes, by the way. But these were easily imported into Kahoot using our generative AI, and we're able to instantly create a Kahoot out of that. The version that we're going to launch at Back to School, a student will be able to just select all, so they'll have all of the Kahoots as part of that. This would be more like the teacher version. So also you educators out there who are in a rush, this feature would also be super useful for you if you want to just make a Kahoot in a flash. So we're not done though. We have another new type of study mode coming up called practice. So we're going to see that now, the practice mode here. We're going to see a few more examples of this tomorrow, so do come back. As you can see, it's a different experience from the live game if you're used to, leaderboards and that whole process of playing a live game. This feels a little bit different. This is very much a solo experience. You can see how quick you can sort of get through the material and really close those gaps and get up to speed. So we think, these sorts of new game modes, study modes, plus giving students some tools like the scanner, note scanner, are really going to be impactful in helping kids assess their own progress and hopefully close any learning gaps that they have. All right, so that was playful practice and also having a look at effective assessment. Now we're going to look at memorable review and group achievement. And if you're familiar with Kahoot, you're pretty much, you've used Kahoot for review in the past. That's probably how you've used Kahoot. And that's great. We love that everybody uses Kahoot for remediation. But often we hear, hey, how can we keep it fresher? How can we have more variety? My students want more variety. So I wanted to give you a couple new ways that you can do that. The first is you can always level up the engagement with more fresh themes. We have, for example, the Summer Games coming up right now. This is based on the Olympics that's coming up in Paris. But you can always check. They're always free for teachers and students. You can always go back and find, hey, can I find a theme and play those themes? And those themes often come with new characters, new avatars, and new accessories as well. We also have the 8 different game modes. Again, we played Robot Run at the very beginning of the summit. You can play the exact same Kahoot. Maybe you have 10 great Kahoots that you played year over year. You can replay all of those Kahoots times 8, so you have 80 ways to play. It's really a fantastic way to think about Kahoot because you don't have to play it the one way. You can do remediation with these game modes. And we're really excited about this next point. I mean, students can actually play and replay to earn student rewards. Now, give you a look at that. We have just launched this actually recently, and it's already a huge hit. So kids, of course, the more they play, the more rewards they can gain while they consolidate their learning. So they're playing and then they're collecting both the avatars and also the accessories that are going with it. So in fact, we are just on the cusp of launching a new season for summertime. So we know there's going to be a lot of excitement about that when that comes again, with a little bit of that Summer Olympics feeling coming up as well. All right. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the group achievement. And really, this is what the other, when we think about Kahoot, this is kids with their arms in the air, really celebrating together as a class. This is what we love to see. This is just, what makes us really smile and love doing our jobs. And what's great about that is, of course, we have the student rewards. But I think this back to school, what we want to do is introduce something brand new called class rewards, where the class can earn rewards with every play. They will be unlocked based on individual contributions and through hosted games and assignments. So what we expect to see is that students will, of course, want to play more in class, but also want to play on their own to contribute to the class chest, so to speak, to unlock more rewards. So this is coming. I apologize, I can't tell you more about this, but you're going to have to trust me. This is going to be awesome, and it's going to be coming this back to school. So look forward to that. All right, so that was kind of a whirlwind of the Kahoot learning experience. We've been right around the wheel now. So hopefully you've learned something. Hopefully you're now Kahoot learning experienced. So I hope you enjoyed that. Just to give you a quick recap of what we went through now, we went through the curriculum aligned content, which should help you to get to find relevant. We have 100 million free Kahoots on the platform and 77 million are made by teachers. So to get to the most relevant Kahoots, it's going to be very helpful to get that curriculum aligned content. We have the AI assisted Kahoot generator, which we kind of teased today, but there'll be a deeper demo tomorrow. We showed you the interactive presentation mode, which I think is going to be amazing for both introducing new topics, but also creating some discussion. We didn't really cover it, but we will have a Google Slide importer. Every year we do these. Everyone's like, hey, Google Slides integration. Well, this year it's coming, so stay tuned for that. On the practice side, we saw the presentations and assignments and all of those amazing self-study modes and solo games. On assessment, yeah, we talked about the formative assessment. Actually, not really. We just sort of jumped over it, but I wanted to also mention that all of the game modes are now getting reports. So that's another thing that people have been asking for. That's now actually available now. flashcards, the new practice mode, and giving it as kids the ability to scan their own notes to create Kahoots on the fly, I think is going to be really well received. On the review side, don't forget that we always have fresh variety of themes, new themes all the time. We have game modes, 8 game modes now. There's always more game modes coming up, and the student rewards, new season starting now. Do come back for the class rewards. So think about Kahoot as a process. Hopefully, you're starting to think of Kahoot as less of a one-off game and more of a process. And with class rewards, you'll be able to play over and over and over again and really achieve over time with the entire class. So we're excited about that. And last but not least, I will mention Kahoot EDU. This is our school and district plan, or if you're in higher ed, this is for institutions. I didn't really go through a lot of detail here, but I will mention just today we announced that we're able to do LMS integrations. And of course, for admins, if they do want to be able to toggle generative AI on and off, that's their prerogative, and they're able to do that within our console. So that's Kahoot EDU, and if you haven't told your admin about it yet, hey, it's not too late. Give them a pat on the back and a nudge. Kahoot EDU for back to school 2024. All right, so that's what Pekka and I have for you today. So we're wishing everybody an amazing summer. Do come back tomorrow for both Porik and Maida, who are going to give you hopefully some amazing demos. And I do have to mention, we have a couple of free summer offers as well. For individual educators, we have a pretty good deal right now on Kahoot Plus Max until the end of the month. And for schools and institutions thinking about Kahoot EDU, drop us an email at schoolpack@kahoot.com, and we're happy to help you out with that. So thanks, everybody. I appreciate your time, and I hope you all have a great summer. Back over to you, Hannah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sean, for walking us through so much new and exciting happenings here on the Kahoot platform. As you were sharing, of course, I was paying attention to what our chat was talking about, what we were getting excited about. So many different anecdotes and experiences about high schoolers even loving the opportunity to customize their characters and avatars. So we're continuing to love that. And also have to give a shout out and some excitement to Alyssa, who is asking for a way for her entire class to kind of track progress together and look at those points. And so I'm excited for Alyssa to meet our latest updates coming for back to school. It was a very aptly timed question as you started to share more about what's to come over the next few months. But thank you for guiding us through. And we know that so much on Kahoot is so really especially impactful because of the way that teachers are involved in the learning processes and planning these lessons, whether squeezing in these new learning experiences in the last few days of school or really sandwiching lesson prep in between summer school sessions. Time is of the essence always, and we know that effectiveness and impact is so important in all of that awesome achievement that happens. And especially important also as we cater to every learner, we are next going to switch gears with Katie, who's coming on stage to talk a little bit about what it looks like to extend learning experiences to every learner and any learner. She's going to share how Katie has used Kahoot in her classrooms, plural, to really curate and create meaningful experiences for students of all backgrounds, all ability levels, and maybe even all interests and hobbies as well. Welcome, Katie. We are so glad you are here.
Hey everybody, how we doing?
Exciting to see some contributions and introductions already happening in chat. We are glad to see it, and I think you have a Kahoot ready to go and queued up for you. We're gonna transition to some interactive learning.
Oh, let's do it. Okay, so we have a Kahoot ready to go. Here we go. Go ahead, join in on your app. Give us some time to get in there. I'm so excited. It's gonna be great. First up, drop a quick pin. Let us know where you are joining us from today. Idea, where are you coming from? I'm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and coming to you live, from my school in public school of Philadelphia. Ready to rock and roll with this game. I'm currently teaching high schoolers with ADHD, autism, etc. And I've been using Kahoot for a while in different environments, different subjects, different grade levels, and I'm really excited to show y'all a couple things about different ways to use Kahoot for different learners. Pin dropping is one of my favorites. Great way to get information from a lot of people all at the same time. Take that out a little bit. All right. Ooh, wow. We really are coming from all over the place. I'm really excited about that. Very cool. Yeah. Looking good. Thank y'all for sharing that with me. So the pin drop allows students to respond with an image, and this particular version of pin drop, there is no correct answer on this one. We will look at one later where there is a correct answer, but on this one, there isn't one. And it's great to solicit information from students who can't read, but can still control the keypad. So think about it. You think you could try this in your classroom? What would you try with it? If you want to type in the chat what kind of question you think you could use this for, go for it. And we are going to keep rolling. Lots of question types to look at today. If you are using a multiple choice questions with 4 answers, what might happen? I also really like using GIFs or GIFs or however you pronounce that word for my questions. Keeps the students really engaged and they love it. These comments are great. And the disease on the mind. Yeah, I like it. It's great. Answers are zooming in. So many options. There are so many people. This is awesome. Yeah, excellent. Love it. This is amazing. Okay, yeah. So I realize students may start to question their own knowledge was a little too close to the actual answer I was looking for. So let's consider that one correct anyway. Let's assume that was a multi-select and that was also the right answer. Kind of GIF is really, yeah, I get that. That is good feedback. I will try and make less distracting GIFs next time. Yeah, too many options can be really overwhelming for students. Almost every one of my students has in their IEP that we reduce multiple choice questions to 3 choices. So that's something I like to do. I prefer not to have this many choices. But yeah, students may also start to question their own knowledge. That is, let's call that also a correct answer. But yeah, I will absolutely think about, yeah, see, choice, really distracting. We can move on to our next question. True or false? True or false questions are always ambiguous and difficult for all students. How are we feeling about that? Taking in real quick. True or false questions are always ambiguous and difficult for all students. What do we think about that? Oh, yeah. Using the word always, kind of a trigger there. So yeah, most of you got that one right. True or false questions are always ambiguous. Not always, often, but not always. So they can be tricky sometimes. The way you word these questions is really important. It's all in the wording. I get tripped up by true or false questions sometimes because the wording is confusing. Yeah. So using words like always or never can really trip up students. That's one of the things that I try not to do. Unless I'm using an actual test question that my students are prepping for. And then I'm like, yep, this kind of stuff might show up on your state exam. So look at it, look at this always, look at this never, and how does that affect how true the statement is? Moving onward. Type in what should be accounted for when using a type answer question. So when you are letting the students type in their own answer and there is a correct answer or answers, what are we going to account for? Yes, this is a really meta Kahoot if you haven't noticed already. Kahoot about Kahoots. So if you are going to type in an answer, you're going to have students type in an answer. What are things that you might want to take into consideration when you're doing that? We're coming up on the end of that. Type in your final answers, please. Those were all great answers. But yeah. Nice. Yeah. And then you can go in, as shown, you can go in and mark things correct. So if you're doing this with a ton of students, like we are right now with like 400 plus people, it's going to be hard to go through everything and mark it all right. But we are doing it. We are going through things to mark things right. And you can do that, especially with a smaller group. It's a lot easier. Longer time to answer questions? Yeah. For students, for sure. For us, we're on kind of a limited, we're kind of limited in time here, and there's a lot of stuff I want to get through. But I think we're pretty good on this one. Yeah, definitely more time when we're answering questions. All right. So typing is great for a lot of students because it lets them show what they know rather than having to choose from things they might not be so sure about. And who doesn't like an adorable kitten? All right, puzzle. I just started using puzzle questions. I think they're pretty cool. So sort the topics you could use for Puzzle Kahoot in A to Z alphabetical order from top to bottom. You could use this for so many things. I've just started using this one recently, and I found it really, really helpful when having students sequence out how to solve math problems, specifically algebra, where they're really struggling. Like, wait, what do I do now? So they've been doing a really great job using the puzzle questions to sequence out what order they're going to use to solve their problem. Pretty cool. CVE word, great, yeah. Using these for spelling out CVE words are great. Yeah. So many different question types. We're going to look at most of them. All right. In alphabetical order. L-O-P-S. Yes. I do have to sing the alphabet to myself when I'm alphabetizing, things like that. All right, so this is a pin where there is a right and wrong answer. Like the smiley face on this image. Stick that pen on the smiley face. Right. Yes. This is another great one for students who maybe can't read, don't want to read, are going to get really frustrated with you if you try and give them a game that includes reading. You can still have them pinpoint things even without the reading. All right. Yeah, so definitely leave a border when you're doing this. I left a little bit of a border around that smiley post-it just to make sure there was birth for students who have some trouble with the trackpad, and making sure they can, even if they get the edge of it, that they're still on the image, they can still get it right. Right. This is my new favorite. Word clouds, my favorite. There is no right or wrong answer in a word cloud. No right or wrong answer, just type it in. And then students can see how popular their answer was or what the most popular answers are because they show up bigger. The questions can be all right for new English readers. A lot of them you can have, especially if you're on Chromebooks, you can have it read to the students. I usually read things out. Oh, all right. Quiz, classic. Nice. Love it. Love all the answers. Very cool. So word clouds, you can get all those opinions from students without all the noise, without having 20 to 30 to 40 students all screaming out answers at the same time. You can get all that information in the same amount of time without the noise. And you get all that feedback right in front of you where you can save it. We do a lot with game modes. So this is a slider question. There is a correct answer. There is some birth to allow for the space on either side. How many live game modes are there for Kahoot games? This is, as of yesterday, Tuesday, June 4th. I did not go look for new game modes this morning, but I don't think there are any since yesterday. How many live game modes are there for Kahoot games? I think most, if not all of them, came up in that word cloud. If you had a look at that word cloud, you might have a clue. Let's see. And those last answers. All right. So in addition to 8 games, there's the classic mode and team mode. So we have 10 different ways to play. My students are loving Tallest Tower and Color Kingdom. But when I let them choose, those are the two they're always choosing. And Robot Run is a pretty new one. I haven't done that with the students yet, but I'm looking forward to it this week because as we wrap up, it is tough to keep those kids engaged. So we are pulling out every game we can think of to keep them here till next week when we let them out for the summer. So we have 2 more questions. So open-ended questions are something I like to use so students can show what they know without being limited to choice. And then we have our GIF, what do you think? Open-ended question, what do you think? You are being given, this is put 90 seconds on this one to make sure everyone had enough time to get their ideas down, get their ideas out. Oh yeah, this definitely happens live at ISTE several times a day, every day. I got to run a couple of them last year. It was really fun. Highly, highly recommend checking out Kahoot at ISTE this year. Absolutely worth the trip. AI generator. Interesting. I've never tried the AI generator before. I should though. Did I have a construct wrong? Yeah, that's the hardest part for me too, figuring out what wrong answers I'm going to use. Good. Yeah, I went to ISTE for the first time last year. Highly, highly, highly recommend. International Society of Technology Education. The conference was here in Philly last year, so I got to go. It's in Denver this year. Check it out if you can. Highly, highly recommend. All right, 429 answers. We're not going to be able to read through all of the 33. Oh my goodness. That's a lot of answers. I'm looking forward to reading them at some point. Love it, love it. Yeah. Excellent. I'm looking forward to looking through these more like intensely later on. This is the last one I've got. So how difficult do you think it would be to create a Kahoot to match the needs of your students? Your students, your subject, your age group, your level of neuroatypicality. On a scale of 1 being very difficult and 10 being very easy, how difficult do you think it would be to create a Kahoot to match the needs of your students? Ooh. Very cool. How difficult do you think it would be to create a Kahoot to match the needs of your students? What? 505 answers. My goodness, that's a lot of answers. Like I was just like incrementally going up as it shows you the answers. All right. Seems like we got a bunch of experts here. People are feeling pretty confident in using all these features for their students. That's great. I'm so happy to hear that. All right, shout out to our winners. We got Caroline in third, CLR4 in second, and in first place we have Mikey. Congratulations to our winners. Y'all did amazing. Thank you so much for playing with me. I had a great time.
Thank you, Katie, for helping us kind of switch gears and recognize the student point of view and perspective as teachers so carefully design these lessons and learning opportunities. We appreciate that guidance in the functions and features of all things Kahooting. Thank you. To now switch gears again and to deep dive in these interactive and adaptive tools, specifically now in mathematics content. As a math guru herself, Melissa really knows how to level up, no pun intended, math content through a lens of game-based learning. She's here to show us exactly how, both in processes and tools, and then eventually we'll experience that firsthand in all of our practice in a live Kahoot as well. So welcome, Melissa. We are so glad that you are here and joining us.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, everybody. I'm very happy to be here. I want to share my screen. Okay. This is my presentation. Okay. Let's begin. I want to speak to you about math games with game-based pedagogy. So, game. If you play, you have fun. If you play, you are involved. You always play willingly. The game is timeless. A game is a game. And come on, let's not drag it on too long. Let's play. Why does everyone like playing? It's part of human nature. In childhood, we approach the world by playing. We get to know it and experience it throughout play. Life is discovered. It's fun and engaging. Like when we read a book, the game distracts us from contingencies and problems, leading us to be completely involved and concentrated in a pleasant and often total body activity. Play helps our brain produce endorphins, which make us feel good. And it is exciting. While we play, a range of emotions passes throughout us rapidly, overwhelms us, moving from desire to realization, from calm to agitation, from joy to disappointment, from anger to euphoria. The game is a storm of emotions, experienced in the lightness of being aware that they remain limited to the space-time of the game. It's social. You very often play with or against someone. The game connects us, even with ourselves, if we play alone. It's strategy, it's reasoning, it's creativity. It leads us to create patterns, predict reactions. When we are actively involved in a game, our minds are experiencing the pleasure of coming to understand a new system. These are just some of the reasons why gaming is an essential part of life for everyone, from which one should never stray too far to continue to stimulate well-being and personal learning. But what defines a game? By game, in ethology, psychology, and other behavioral sciences, we mean an entertainment activity, mostly fun, voluntary and intrinsically motivated, carried out by adults, children, or animals for recreational purposes. The game has a stated objective, a clear and well-defined purpose. It must have certain rules within which all players can move consciously. Transgressions of the rules of the game always implies equally defined and declared consequences. It takes place in a limited time. Whether established or consequent to the achievement of the objective, the game always takes place in a relatively short time. It involves a competition, individual or group. And in the case of team games, competition is combined with cooperation, an activity that involves collaboration, mediation, agreement, sacrifice, generosity, service. It is entertainment, leisure, and is therefore pleasant. What about the game at school? Throughout play, various fundamental components of learning are stimulated, which is why play has always been part of many educational activities, especially starting from early childhood. In fact, the game, throughout physical and mental stimulation, activates understanding processes, helping to acquire disciplinary and social-emotional knowledge. It causes pupils to have a different perception of the school, the teacher and their classmates, and by improving the climate of the learning environment increases the pleasure of learning. If combined with the metacognitive component, it also becomes a tool for learning to learn, making students aware of effective strategies and dynamics. But then, why does the older you get, the less you play? Why is it that at school, especially at the higher levels of education, we think that what is fun cannot be useful for rigorous learning? Ask a few kids. The reason most they don't like school is not that the work is too hard, but that it is utterly boring, as Papert in 1998 said. So GBL, if integrated with digital game-based learning, is a teaching strategy that uses games to teach a specific content or to achieve a specific learning outcome. Throughout play, the student acquires, reinforces, or enriches his own knowledge, and it is the game itself that trains the acquisition of knowledge. The student, while playing, learns the knowledge that is the object of the game. Game-based teaching uses mathematics contents and makes them challenging and fun. It uses play to provoke immediate learning. So, in summary, GBL causes learning by playing, helps to acquire knowledge and skills, especially of a disciplinary nature, has a short duration from a few minutes to an hour, has a simple structure, is limited to single activities. It can be connected to any discipline using specific topics. It can be analog or digital. It can also be integrated into a classic class structure, always as a winner, who in digital GBL is often single. It is competitive and challenging. It can be used from 0 to 99 years. It's fun. And obviously, an example of a web tool for digital game-based learning is Kahoot. One of the key aspects of the importance of GBL is its ability to motivate students. Games are intrinsically linked to the idea of a challenge and reward, creating an environment in which students are more likely to actively engage. This active involvement can lead to more effective learning as students consolidate the knowledge acquired, more than when they are interested and motivated. Furthermore, game-based learning promotes the development of essential soft skills. Many games require problem-solving, collaboration, decision-making, and creativity. Throughout these activities, students not only gain subject-specific knowledge, but also skills that are applicable in different situations. For example, a management simulation game can improve students' decision-making and organization skills. Personalization of learning is a crucial aspect of GBL. Games can be designed to adapt to each student's skill levels, and it is therefore possible to provide a more individualized educational path that is very important. I don't like mathematics is a common phrase among many children who have developed a fear of mathematics, the lack of confidence that the student has in their mathematical abilities can derive from painful emotions, and such as memories linked to those who taught them to the subject, or from difficulties in doing mathematics exercises. These situations can cause anxiety when faced with a math exam, or difficulty concentrating when faced with a mental calculation exercise. However, this fear of mathematics can be overcome. The term edutainment, fusion of educational and entertainment, coined by Bob Heyman, indicates the relationships between teaching and any new medium positioned as an educational tool, which can facilitate and make learning dynamic, fun, and alternative. Today, the main tool when it comes to edutainment is a technology, which has opened up fun learning scenarios and possibility thanks to multimedia and game-based learning. And in modern educational theories is highlighted the necessity of pupils' activity during lessons. There is also demand for development of not only pupils' knowledge, but all key competencies. So we need teaching methods able to fulfill these needs. Very promising seems to be the method of teaching mathematics by didactical games. As didactical game, we consider activities of pupils which realize some educational goals and bring to pupils happiness and pleasure. There are researches on efficacy of the using of didactical games in mathematical education. According to these results, the games seem to be asset in the area of pupils' attitudes towards mathematics and processes of its teaching. And some games are also useful tool for better construction of mathematical knowledge. Therefore, there is a need to find new games for realization of various educational goals and inquire their efficacy and influences on teaching process. Positive influences of games on development of the primary school children describes in her work, Sepikova in 1996. She has seen potential of didactical game in these areas. Didactical game makes pupils active, develops their memory, imagination, concentration, thinking and speech, refines pupils' feeling area and supports learning by experience, improves self-confidence and self-cognition, makes possible social learning, prepares for various social situations, motivates, develops interests, satisfies needs, leads to creativity and self-reliance, as important influence and as a relax. And the history of didactical games in mathematics education showed the increase in using of these games as effective teaching method. Positive are also results of researches on efficacy of mathematics teaching by the help of proper didactical games. On the basis of our experience with didactical games, we also concluded that these games are really useful for overcoming some of didactical obstacles. Very important for the using of didactical games in mathematics education is for teachers the methodology how to work with this teaching method. We identified 3 important phases of this methodology. First, selection of a proper game suitable for the use at mathematics lessons. The game should be able to fulfill educational goals of the lesson. Moreover, the game should be proper for the age, knowledge level, and interests of the pupil. Also, practical realization of the game should be easy in the terms of teacher's preparation for the lesson. Necessary materials tool needed for realization of the game and also the process of the game. Second, realization of the game at the mathematics lesson. The presentation of the game will begin with its name. This name should be attractive for pupils and also should characterize the content of the game. Then we present rules of the game. The best is to illustrate rules on some examples on the game process. Next come playing the game by the pupils. It can have a form of a team competition. Teacher controls the process of the game and keeping the game rules during this activity. And third, assessment of the pupils' work during the game. As every human activity, also pupils' activity during didactical game should be assessed. Because the character of the game, we use only positive assessment. For example, winner acquires some number of positive points, but less than the winner. This way of assessing of the didactical games motivates pupils for really great effort during the game process. Kahoot is obviously the best tool for applying the game-based learning methodology in mathematics, as well as in other disciplines. And Kahoot has game elements such as point scoring, animations, music, timers, and leaderboards. Unlike other traditional digital educational games, Kahoot also offers a competitive environment by providing time limits and scoring for its quizzes. Students collect points based on their speed in providing correct answers. In each quiz, a bar graph showing how many students choose each given answer is presented. At the end of each game, the top 3 players are announced and on the podium. These conditions help students maintaining their engagement, increase the class dynamics. And the previous literature has documented the effect of using Kahoot on student performance at various levels of education. For example, Yawamoto in 2016 report that Kahoot has the potential to increase high-risk test scores among college and university level students. Then Wong in 2015 reported that students who did Kahoot learned more and were more motivated than students who did paper quizzes. Furthermore, Chayo and Nokam in 2017 found that Kahoot supports learning and increases student concentration, engagement, and motivation. Similarly, Peaceworks in 2016 shows that the majority of students think that learning to use Kahoot is more effective and fun than traditional methods. Again, Jebels in 2018 also reported that Kahoot was effective in promoting students' conceptual understanding and learning and had a positive influence on their self-confidence. In other words, game-based learning, Kahoot is an effective learning tool because it uses attractive graphic and audio user interfaces to increase students' attention and participation. So let's play with this wonderful Kahoot about math games, and let's begin. Okay, let's begin with the first answer. Math games. This is the first answer, the first question. In a farmyard, there are rabbits and chickens. There are 100 legs and 40 heads. How many rabbits and chickens are there? Be fast in your answers. Okay, the right answer was 10 rabbits and 30 chickens. Let's continue. The sum of the ages of 5 boys is 48. In 10 years, what will the sum of their ages be? Think calmly and give the answer. Okay, perfect. 98. Let's continue. Congratulations, Mama. You are the first. Order the following numbers in ascending order, from the little to the higher. 10 seconds. Only 63 right answers. Let's continue with the next answer. Next question. The eggs in a basket doubles every minute. It's full after 1 hour. After how many minutes is it half full? Think carefully and type your answer. $59. Okay. A train travels at 50 kilometers per hour. How many kilometers will it have traveled after 3.5 hours? 95, 175. It depends on the wind. 155. Answer, think carefully. Okay. Let's continue at 175. Pin answer. Double points. A snail climbs a 5 meters pole. At morning, it rises 3 meters. At night, it drops 2 meters. How long does it take to reach the top? Think carefully and drop your pins. On the pole. 2, 3, 4, 5. What was the right answer? Okay. It was 3. Okay, let's continue. Type answer. Double points. The rectangle in the figure is described in a circle, which radius is 2 meters. How many meters does BC measure? Type your answer. Think carefully, calmly, and give the right answer. This has been a question in an exam in Italy for students of high schools. For students of about 14 years. Yes. 0. Let's see what's the right answer. 2 meters. Yes. 2 meters. 2 okay. Great. Now 20. This is not inscribed, no. 2, there are no. 2 centimeters. Okay. It was the same on EU. Okay. Double points. And I paid $56 for jeans discounted at 20%. What was the starting price? $100, $80, $75 or $70? $70. Okay, let's continue. A craftsman earns $360 in 5 days of work. How many days will he have to work to earn $576? Think carefully and calculate the right answer. This way you are playing and you are improving your knowledge about mathematics. Perfect, 8 days. Okay, let's continue with the next question. True or false? Given a deck of 52 French cards, the probability that drawing a card at random will result in a face card is 3. True or false? Playing, you are overcoming your fear of mathematics, and it's true. It is true. Okay, let's continue with the next question and type the answer. If in a race, just before the finish line, you finally manage to overtake second, in what position will you have arrived? Type your answer. Think calmly and give the right answer. Think carefully about the data you have. The second place, 2 second, because you become the second, because you overtake second and you become the second. Okay, we can continue. Double points. Complete the following numerical sequence correctly. 2, 20, 22, 42, 64. What's the next number? 84, 106, 86, or 128? Think carefully. was 106. Because it is the sum of the previous two numbers. 42 plus 64 is it's 106. Write one word to describe this meeting with me about fear of mathematics. Only one word to see what do you think about this meeting with me about mathematics and game-based learning. Okay, let's see. What do you think? Hard, engaging, informative, fun, interesting, great, awesome, frustrating, challenging, amazing, exciting, enlightening, quick, insightful, cool, happy to fast. Nice. Thank you. Thank you all. Let's see the podium. Neil at the second position, at the first. Becky, congratulations. And then Dutch and David. Congratulations, Paul. And
Thank you so very much, Melissa, for really showing us so many different tools, functions, and use cases for mathematics questions and game-based learning in general. So much excitement in the chat. I'll just take a quick second to name a few points. How we were hearing that it's so important to kind of get a taste of so many different questions. We're not striving for perfection in this learning, just progress and experience along the way. And hopefully there's some inspiration that all of our educators and teachers and facilitators joining in can bring back to their classrooms too, whether near you all the way in Italy or elsewhere around the world. We so appreciate you guiding us through that learning experience. Next, we are welcoming David to the stage. I know that we are nearing the end of our summit, day one, but we have an entire repertoire of teaching and skill and experience still left to share. David is tuning in and joining us from Mexico today to talk through some of the ways that he's incorporated great question types and different functions and different varieties as we share with different classroom audiences, whether they are teachers themselves or younger learners. So take it away, David. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I mean, thank you very much for having me. You know, a big shout out to the Kahoot team because I know I was supposed to present last time, but I got a bit of a time zone mix up, so that's on me. But thank you so much for having me in June. So I really appreciate that a lot from you guys. So basically, you know, like you said, I'm originally from New Jersey, USA, and I currently work overseas here in Mexico as an English teacher, ed tech specialist, and integration specialist. So and the CEO of my own startup, which is Ulango eLearning, by the way. So today in this presentation, I'm basically going to touch upon two topics, which would be how to have a great voice as a teacher, right? And some cool ways you can redesign your questions using Kahoot to better extract answers from students. All right, so let's just wait for people to join in. All right. All right. Got some very cool names there. Okay. Awesome. People joining in, that's always good. All right, so let's get started. All right. So we're going to start with a word cloud question. If you could hang out with any fictional character from any movie, book, TV show, comic book, okay, who would you choose? Bit of an icebreaker here. All right, let's see. Who would you guys like to hang out with? All right, let's see some of your answers. Okay, so we got Sherlock Holmes, Harry Potter, Superman, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, Jesus, Mary Poppins, Batman. All right, Gandalf, Neo, Iron Man. Yeah, interesting characters, all of them. Julia Roberts, King Leonidas. All right. So, all right, thanks for sharing that. Interesting. We have a lot of collection here from different universes. All right. So, as I said before, I'm going to be showing you how to design great questions for your Kahoots. I know many of you educators have talented and very awesome tips and ideas for all of this, and I hope to really add on to our own teacher Batman utility belt, some of the way we can reform our questions, right? Give them a different format so that we can help our students engage in our classes and lessons. All right. So, as it says there, I am the CEO of my startup called Ulangui Learning. It's based here in Mexico, but it also works with people in the US. I started out as a language teacher, English language teacher, STEAM educator, and EdTech integration specialist over here in a state called Tlaxcala, Mexico, which is where I am currently living. All right. So for those teachers out there, I just really want to know what subject you teach really quick. All right. If you teach more than one, feel free to put that in the word cloud. Let's see. Okay, so we have a good majority coming from English, math, science, Spanish, special education, mathematics. I see someone wrote all subjects. Congratulations on that. Tipping my hat to you over there. I don't think that's easy, but German language. Okay, that's interesting. Awesome. All right, so what is the current scenario in our classroom? So um, we live in a time where sometimes people just don't really want to interact anymore. Or, I mean, even if it's virtual, some people just maybe might not even turn on their cameras or engage because they might feel shy or stressed or whatever. But as educators, we have seen across the globe that sometimes students don't feel comfortable asking questions lately. Sometimes they just, don't want to either raise their hand or just maybe try to figure it out on their own, ask ChatGPT or whatever, but it's best if they can actually ask a question in class so that we can tackle that situation alongside with them and remove whatever barriers or whatever disconnection is going on so that we can establish learning effectively. All right, so just a quick poll. Do your students show interest in asking questions while in the classroom? I'd like to know what the situation is with you guys. All right, do you guys have very active students? We all wish we have that, but just wondering, are your students very shy, very quiet? They don't even engage? Let's see what the scenario is. All right, we have more than 300 questions. Wow. Awesome. So let's see here. Not at all. Okay, a little. 35% say they have to push them. Only 20% say that yes, they are very active students. It's kind of a 50-50, depends on the lesson, says 39%. Okay. So as we see here, yes, the very active is actually like 20. All right, so our students definitely need to engage more when it comes to asking questions, and we as teachers can really facilitate that, and I'm going to show you how in this session. All right, a scale question. On a scale of 1 to 5, how important is it for a teacher to have a dynamic voice during classes? I mean, even outside of classes, but how important do you think that is? All right, we have answers coming in. All right. How important, how necessary is it? Okay, 352, let's see. Okay, so 57% of you say number 5, it's very important, followed by 32 saying, number in 4th place, 32 saying it's, mildly important, and so on. All right, so yes, the majority does agree that having a dynamic voice will impact, right, on how students perceive your classes, your lessons, the way you also engage and transmit the subject to them. Okay, very well, that's good to know. So, being vocally dynamic for us is important, right? So, I mean, we're all teachers. We've been there. Where I'm not saying that you should always have your highest energy because it just sometimes it's not possible. I'm very well aware of that, and we try our best definitely to give our our 100% to students as much as we can. However, I do have some colleagues who are, even though they might have maybe 5+ years of teaching, they might still be shy when, using their voice or teaching something, believe it or not, right? And our voice is important because it is the instrument we use to communicate. We need to also transmit our levels of energy, how we are dealing with the particular subject we are teaching. How important is it, right? If we were to speak in monotone, it would be very boring, right? You can imagine just me talking, oh, this is blah blah blah. We need to have a high energy in our voice in classroom. I know it always isn't easy, and I would be actually boring you guys. You guys would be falling asleep, and that would be definitely on me because I am not using my energy. I'm not using what I have to transmit as much as my uh, dynamicism to the audience as possible. Right. So as teachers, we definitely must understand that to engage with students, with parents, with the general audience, the way we talk, the way our speech rate is, being executed is important, right? We don't want to have a very soft voice, right? Unless it's necessary. And we don't want to be shouting if it's not, necessary to go to that point, right? But we do want to have this energetic tone so that we can better engage with our students. So what can we do to make questions the norm in our classroom? So number one, make sure that we provide a safe and invoking environment, right? We want our students to know that asking questions is awesome. It's brilliant. It helps us all understand more. So we want to further that in our environment, in our classrooms. Number two, inspire curiosity by asking them, how do you think this can be applied in your day-to-day life? A lot of the times the things that we teach might not seem to have a connection in real life. Sometimes students might say, I'm never going to use this. But if we do find a way, right, and I'm pretty sure we can, as teachers, we're very creative, we can do it, guys. If we find a way to connect the idea to something that they're doing in their life, they're going to actually be more engaged. They're going to understand the topic more. They're going to want to know more about it, learn about it more effectively. Number three, instead of saying, do you have any questions? And actually, I would say this is one of my favorite. What questions do you have, right? If we just go and say, do you have questions? That's like a yes or a no. And I'm going to be very honest. Students are going to say, no, I don't have any questions. Let's just move on and get over with the day. All right. But if you elicit from them, what questions do you have about this? What is not clear? Or what would you like to know more about such and such? This triggers their brain to actually think a bit more, right? And come up with an answer, right? Or actually, I'm sorry, come up with a question to obtain the proper answer, right? So I would say point three is very important. Try to, make this, rephrase the question in this particular manner. All right, so tips and tricks to get our students up and running our questions. So we need to engage them throughout the lesson by saying, I know some nice, amazing questions will be asked, during my lesson. So, keep them in mind, write them in your notebook, right? Have them in the back of your head, right? So that when I say go, you can shoot your question, right? So one of the cool ways we can do this with Kahoot is using the open-ended question type, right? And see what our students are actually thinking about, what their doubts are, if they have any comments, if they're unsure about something. Hey, Kahoot helps us out there with the open-ended question type. Another technique we can use if nobody really wants to ask any questions in the classroom, then it's time for maybe the teacher to, jump in and randomly select a student, right? So they can say, hey, John, Samantha, what's the best question you can think about regarding this particular topic? All right. Now, it's not that we want to put the spotlight or shine the spotlight directly on them, but we do want students to actually ask more. And the more questions are being asked throughout the lesson, the better the understanding in general, okay, is not only perceived, but achieved. All right. So another one of the questions or techniques you can use is a reverse engineering in the questions. So instead of asking them on a quiz or test, what is the name of the process in which the plant uses sunlight to convert water and carbon dioxide into glucose, right? So many of us will answer, oh, photosynthesis. We know that, right? So that's a very basic kind of question. It's very common. However, if we actually reverse engineer it and ask it something like this, the answer is photosynthesis. So please, write the correct question, all right, so that the answer is valid. All right. So please write what the correct question should be. I know it sounds like kind of a brain teaser, but I can guarantee you students will think more closely about what they should respond to that, right? So we know photosynthesis is the right answer. What is the question? Right. So students should come up with that, like, this is the process in which plants maybe use this or that, right? And as students formulate that question that should match the answer, in this case of the example, it's photosynthesis, you get to see what the student is thinking, right? This will make sure that students think more insightfully and respond and trigger some creative responses as well using the open-ended question type we have in Kahoot. Right. So choose the correct reverse engineer question format, all right? So we have 4 options. Which of these best reflects what I just mentioned? Okay. Okay, awesome. So the majority of you selected red. If the Treaty of Versailles is the correct answer, what is the question? Yes, that is right. Okay. Let's see the scoreboard. We have, okay, Miss L, followed by Deutsch, and then Pi. Very good. We have David in 4th. Okay. Another kind of question that you can ask, right, designed for classroom, is to present a plausible scenario-based question and ask them, why is this wrong, right? So, example, let's look at the statement. A well-written story or novel should prioritize vivid descriptions that immerse the reader and keeps the main plot easy, hidden, and suspenseful. Why is this wrong? Okay, so there are 2 possible tools we can use in Kahoot. The first could be type answer, right? Or open-ended, right? You can use any of these 2 for these particular questions. And, some people might say, well, that kind of sounds about right. But if you think about it a bit more, there are some things that might not make sense, especially, for any teacher, with giving writing classes, literature, all of that. They probably have a very quick answer to this. But if we place a scenario and ask them, why is this wrong? Why won't this work? Why is this a common misconception? Okay, students actually get to think, like, instead of looking for what's the right way to answer this, let's disprove it. Like, why is this particular thing wrong? And let's come up with arguments, with maybe bullet points, ideas that better suit this response. So we're looking for ways to actually engage them by asking different kinds of questions that they probably might not have encountered or not encountered frequently. Okay, open-ended. We should always believe our history textbooks and the historian's perspective. Why do you think this is wrong? Okay, so let's put this to the test. Let's see some of your answers. We should always believe our history textbooks and the historian's perspective when we study history. Why do you think this is wrong? I'm excited to see what some of you guys are typing in. Okay, we have 130 answers, 132. Okay, 100 and 195, 96, cool. 200. So happy to see many people engaging with our Kahoots today. You guys are awesome. Okay, 245. Got 260. Wow, 260 answers submitted. Let's see. 271. All right, so cool. Many of you wrote bias. There could be bias because this doesn't include bias, source, mistakes, winners, right? History is written by the winners. That's, it's a popular saying. Not all writing is accurate. Some people might have a new perspective. They could be wrong. One perspective wrote the books. Okay, so yes, very good answers. As we know, we really can't trust one person's perspective, right? That's their point of view. But, as we know in history, world history, and so forth, there are multiple perspectives surrounding an issue, an environment, an ecosystem, okay, a society. So one point cannot define the whole thing. Very good. Good job, guys. Thank you so much for your answers. All right. Next, one of my favorite physicists, the Feynman technique mini style. So as you can see there on the left, there is a picture of Richard Feynman, a famous physicist and an amazing teacher regarded by many as one of the best when it comes to teaching physics and transmit that information from a high level, right, to a very basic and easy to understand way. So the way this technique works is in this regard. In order to see how much one of our students has definitely understood and comprehended of such lesson we have given them, all right, we can ask them to teach that or transmit it to another of his fellow classmates. Okay, so it's one thing for a person to maybe sit down and listen to the teacher, the lecturer, whatever, and absorb as much as information as they can. But it's a totally different thing for that particular person to now maybe teach it to a classmate who was maybe out, sick, or something. And you're like, hey, man, I need your help. What was this particular lesson about? Can such a student actually transmit and teach that subject, well, maybe not the subject, but that particular lesson to another fellow classmate and do it effectively, right? So some people might say, wait a minute, that might be asking too much because they haven't studied pedagogy or whatever, but it's not really that hard. I mean, we need to see if they can learn it and transmit it, okay? It's both sides of the same coin. All right. So as a teacher, you can observe how much of the information is being passed on to the student and how much they can share with someone else. Can they share that information correctly? Can they share it in a way that the person understands, right? Will that person be engaged and say, hey, you know what? The way that you explained this to me was awesome and I'm interested, right? So it's important to also see whether or not our students can help other classmates by, let's say, maybe teaching or reteaching a bit of what they learned in class. If they're able to do this, then they themselves have understood the topic to the best of their ability and can also share that with others. If the student is unable, right, it's not because, they are incapacitated in a, cognitive way or anything like that. No. But then the person cannot, teach something that they haven't learned. All right, it's on that premise or on that basis. So if you have learned it well, you can pretty much share it and pass it on to others. If you haven't really learned it well for yourself, then you won't be able to share that with another person. Hence, this is how the technique works. All right, so we're going to use a puzzle question. All right, double points. What is the correct order of implementing the Feynman technique? All right. Okay, take your time, read the 4 steps. Okay. Bit of a hint, remember, we must teach the lesson effectively and then see how much our students have captured and can retransmit what we taught them. Okay. All right, so let's go over the steps real quick. All right, 221 of you got that correct. Congratulations, very well. All right, number 1, teach the lesson effectively. If you did not do your, a good job as an educator, well, that's on you. And we have to actually change that. We have to make sure that as we teach with love, with passion, with engagement, with, an insightful creativity. So we have to give that first step. We have to, come halfway through here. So, and students do the other half. So, number 2, ask one student to teach the lesson to another classmate, right? It could be right there in real time, all right? Or virtually. I mean, it's not really, it really should be hard to do that. Number 3, see if the recipient student understood the lesson from his or her own classmate. And finally, analyze how well students are able to replicate that lesson one to another, okay? So again, if they have been able to do this correctly and effectively with other classmates, then we know that students have grasped or have achieved a good dominion of such lesson, and we're able to move on. All right, let's take a look at the scoreboard. Okay, we have Becky in first place, Miss L second, Rebecca B, good job, Corey fourth place, and we have a nice panda coming in at 5th. All right. Okay, true or false? The Feynman technique basically says that after you have learned something, see if you can teach it to someone else. If you can, then you understood what you learned. Is this true or false? By the way, if anyone is interested, maybe some of you have never heard of him before or curious, I would recommend highly to go online, go to YouTube, look at some of his videos and lectures. You'll have a great time. All right, very good. True, that is correct. Yes. All right. And like I said, go for it. Okay, drop a pin. Oh, I think if we could go back to the previous slide, I just want to showcase something. Thank you so much. All right, so the drop the pin question in Kahoot. So this is how we can use it, all right? As you can see there, we have a training check-in diagram. We have the blue zone. All right, this is awesome. I'm glad I watched this. Green zone, I'm ready to implement this on my own. Red zone, I'm not okay. I really didn't get this at all. All right, so we have, 4 levels. There are 4 rectangles. Students can choose an anonymous drop a pin and let you know as the teacher, whether or not they really understood the topic, they feel they're ready to go on, they're a little bit intermediate. You can actually just, present this question to them and have a general consensus of, how the population of your classroom feels. Are they good to go? They really didn't get it, etc. So Kahoot does a good way of, helping us out with this, with the drop the pin. All right. All right, so finally, 2 of my favorite quotes. First one from Sir Ken Robinson, a great educator as well. Creativity is the engine of achievement, right? It is also a part of our jobs to remain as creative, insightful, engaging with them, because we're really raising also future generations of scientists, writers, directors, people in arts, food, and so forth. So we really are a good motor right? A good engine for society. And we need to do our part. Be a creative educator isn't easy all the time, but we definitely can improve at least a bit every day. Next, another one of my quotes from Simon Sinek: don't show up to prove, show up to improve, right? So it's not so much about competing with, such and such person, is, compete with your own self, right? How much can I improve today? How am I better today than I am tomorrow? Am I a better teacher this semester than I was last semester or 2 years ago? That's on us. We have to challenge ourselves and see, where are we going? If we're headed in the right direction, what can we improve? What can we add to our repertoire, to our Batman utility belt, and what things we should discard, right? So I hope that you guys had a fun and engaging time. My contact information is on the slide below. If any of you want to reach out, drop a question, a comment, say hi, feel free to do so. We're over there. We'll be happy to respond to your questions, comments, and so forth. And thank you so much to the Kahoot team for having me, this month coming into EDU. So let's look at the podium. Okay, Rebecca B, third place. Miss Sal, very good. And number 1, Becky. All right. So good job to all who participated. Congratulations, Rebecca B, Emma, Miss L, and Becky. Thank you so much for participating in my Kahoot. I hope you guys learned something that you can add to your classrooms, and have a wonderful rest of your day, afternoon, evening, wherever you're watching from. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you, David, for guiding us through some really helpful scaffolds to ensure that not only is learning exciting and engaging for our students, but also effective in helping to make kind of long-term changes in their brains and understanding and experiences. So we appreciate you. And of course, we also appreciate all of our educators, facilitators, participants tuning in. So much excitement in the chat, so much appreciation and community in the chat as well. So we are so glad that the learning stayed both exciting and relevant and applicable to everyone tuning in. Of course, we have learning still left to cover and still left to experience tomorrow at day 2 of our Kahoot EDU Summit. The live show starts again at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, or 5 p.m. Central European. And just a few hints as we close out today into what you can expect tomorrow. We are joined by a very special co-host tomorrow, Jamie Gilbert, or Mr. G Teacher on socials. He is going to join us to spread some insight and intel on all things SEL curriculum and tools as we cater and support neurodivergent learning as well. We'll have a crash course on how to develop curriculum, and then also a live in-time full experience demo of some of our latest Kahoot features. So we hope that you continue learning with us tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll be excited to see you again. Kudos to all of those that made it to our podium today, and we hope that you come back for round 2 tomorrow. Thank you again for being here, and happy Kahooting. Bye.